Anderson. I'm joined by Jordan Vogel. We are both working for Good Rep Media, small business marketing agency, blah, 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 blah. One of the first episodes of the dude, the hand motions get me every time. First episode of the new year. Topic that we're going to be getting into is self-growth, self-top, sabotage, some mental health related things as we kick off 2026. But the main thing I want to get into right off the bat as we kind of get our intro around as Mel takes a look at this. One, I'm sorry for the time switch, guys. I thank you, Jordan, for being like good on the time switch. But yeah, I had to deal with a dental issue. You ever deal with dental issues, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I've never had like an emergency thing where it's like, hey, we need to get in there and like get this fixed like immediately. The closest I've ever had to something like that was like, hey, I got my wisdom teeth growing in and I need to get in there and like get those taken out. But yeah, no, I've never had like a chipped tooth or anything like that, or crown.
See, yeah, that's at least lucky. I've had two different instances where I've had not necessarily emergency, but where I've like wanted it to be an emergency, and if I were in a different tax bracket, it would have been an emergency. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But in this situation, no. Luckily, it's not the biggest emergency, but my partner needs to get a crown done. There was a little bit of an issue, and so we were just dealing with some ferrying back and forth, making sure we're showing up for others in the community, which is one of those things as we head into 2026 that I think personally I'm focusing on is definitely helping me with my mental health. Community, being out there and helping people for the joy of the game, as opposed to being worried about failing or not showing up and people being angry at me.
Yeah.
Is that something that you've ever felt though? Like if I ask if you're not going to show up, do you get worried people will be mad at you?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
All the time. Yeah, like pretty much. Yeah, that's an anxiety. That's just anxiety 101.
Baseline anxiety.
Yeah. It's just that feeling of like if you're not doing exactly what someone wants, you feel like you're kind of letting them down.
Mm-hmm. And it can be a little bit
Daunting.
awful. But looking forward, trying to do a little bit better on that. But how did your 2025 end up? How are you looking at 2026 so far? Like let's get into the actual topic of where we're kind of at.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that I've kind of talked about a couple times already on the podcast. If you've watched, you've already heard it, but if you haven't, 2025, like the come down off of 2025, I kind of approached it a little slower so that I could feel a little more refreshed coming into 2026 here. And I honestly feel like it has done a lot. Like today was like a day where like I got up and like sat at my computer, like excited to sit at my computer and like actually be ready to go. And I think if I had burnt myself out all year, at the end of the year, I probably wouldn't have had that same excitement.
Yeah, having like a mental reset at the end of the year, I think is it's important. It's important for people in general, having mental reset or like the ability to reset mentally, even if it's not, hey, I'm going to take a week off. Because I remember in the summer, I took a camping weekend. I went backpacking for like a long 3 or 4 days or something like that. I took off. It wasn't a full, week of time off. It wasn't a holiday. It wasn't anything special. But because I unplugged and got away, it was a lot more relaxing. It was a lot more of a recharge. And I think those like recharge periods, even if it's not necessarily a holiday, are hugely important.
Yeah.
But getting them in winter is, oh dear God, man.
It's needed. Like you got to find a way to break up the time in winter, because it'll all just feel like one big massive gray if you don't.
Yeah, but I feel like I'm starting off 2026 at least a little bit better than I started off 2025.
That's great.
I've done a lot more like work professionally and like personally, and it's nice to feel like there's been growth year over year. And so it's almost like I'm entering another year with the ability to kind of continue on this path of growing. I haven't like hit a plateau yet, which is I think that's my worry. Like, people talk about working out and stuff like that. You hit that plateau. I'm going to hit that like self-growth thing where I'm like, okay, I can't do this.
I needed you to say plateau a second time after that first one. You said like plateau, and I was like, don't like you'll
Did I
distract me
mispronounce
so
it?
hard. Yeah, like plateau.
Plateau?
The first time, like plateau. Yeah, like but like it was the way you said like plateau.
Like almost Pluto?
Yeah, almost. I was like, there's no way.
Plateau.
I was like, if he says that again like that, I'm not gonna be able to ignore it. And I still wasn't.
I will say one of my favorite things about being, at least maybe it's not about being virtual, but having the ability to like look directly at your face while we have like a camera, is when we're face to face and in person, I'm the type of autism that's difficult for like eye contact and like looking directly at people. I'm
Yeah.
getting better at it. It's one of those things to improve on, but it's so much easier when we're virtual. So when I'm talking, I'm looking at you directly in the camera, and then I can see your facial reactions to the things that I'm saying.
So aware of my face at all times whenever anybody speaks to me, because like that is my way of like trying to like relate, like when I'm like I can't say what I want to say, but maybe I can show it a little bit.
You've got like that, not even like a, I want to say expressive face, like Kid on Christmas, like it lights up as
Yeah.
soon as you like think of that thing. I can literally watch the light enter your eyes, and you're like, oh, we've got it, we've got it.
I also think I might be a narcissist though, because I pretty much spend these entire podcasts staring at myself and not you.
Well, funny enough, I actually, so you're a YouTube personality, right? You watch not personality. You watch YouTube things, you watch
Yeah.
YouTube personalities. You
Yeah.
know people on YouTube and follow like the YouTube. I don't know how to describe it to people. When I say like Netflix has shows, YouTube has its version of shows, but it's very different as like
I
a
mean, there's still
streaming.
shows, but yeah, it's just not like your normal television, you know.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, they are still shows.
Yeah, and so for example, one of those shows that I enjoy watching on YouTube is Business Insider, and they will do like they'll bring someone on who had an in of some type of industry. So for example, they'll be like, "Hey, this is the supermax prisons decoded or declassified," and they interview someone for like 50 minutes about their time in a supermax prison, and it was extremely interesting. I watched an episode of that last night. It was like 40 minutes long, but I do think it's absolutely like fascinating to get into these like little YouTube channels and ideas and personalities. I don't remember what originally got me on this track, but
You'd asked if I was, I don't know either, if
crap.
I'm being honest.
Damn it. You can tell it's the beginning of the year because I've got so many different new like ideas and thought processes going on. But we got a comment here. Let's highlight. Hey boys, getting into this year and working on self-growth. How do you tell the difference between growth and self-sabotage in your own life? Any specific advice for others? We are talking about growth and self-sabotage. When you're getting into like new things, I don't know that I suffer from self-sabotaging too much. I think it's something that I did much more when I was younger, where you go into a project and you're like immediately thinking you're going to fail. Your mental attitude surrounding that thing is going to fail, and therefore you bring about failure because you think you're going to fail. At least that's how I've always interpreted it. You got a different interpretation?
No, I mean, you pretty much nailed it. That's
Okay.
pretty much what I feel every day. You know,
So this is a struggle. This is a very
100%, yes.
okay. So what does that look like for you?
So I have like a burden and a curse of being painfully self-aware a lot of times.
Mhm.
And so I think I recognize a lot of times when I am self-sabotaging. You know, there a lot of times like you will like when you make it any type of excuse as to justifying like actions that you know internally you shouldn't be doing, that's when I start viewing yourself as self-sabotaging because you are justifying wrong behaviors. And so I find myself doing that very often, especially like things like my diet.
Yeah.
I you know, I had thought to myself like the like when I was like I'm getting back on the diet now, and like today is like my first like full day of doing it because like New Year's Day led into when I was still up north, I didn't want to like not eat my mom's cooking when I was up north. So I was like, okay, we'll do it when I go home. But my rule was I like weekends are my cheat days. So like my first days at home were cheat days. And like, well, it was Friday. And I was like, Friday isn't my cheat day. But then I justified it to myself, like, oh, but I'm going to, but it goes into my cheat day. So really it doesn't matter as long as on Sunday, I like I'll start my diet later, or I'll end it later and I'll start it earlier, kind of thing, like shifting it. That's not good. That's not healthy. Like, you should have set rules and you should follow them. Now, I will say this was something I had thought about already, but I didn't think about it on Friday. It wasn't until I was sitting there after 7 o'clock, like, I want to eat really bad. And then I was like, oh yeah, I told myself I can now. We have a new way we're doing it. But like, there's that level of satisfaction there that was like, I felt wrong doing it.
Yeah, where you feel like you didn't actually like maintain what. So in my head, I immediately jumped to like almost like self-discipline, because I think of things. So we talked about this crown. I'm on dental issues. Dental issues are top of mind. For everyone out there who has a bite guard or a mouth guard and doesn't wear it at night, um, that's one of those like accountability, holding self-discipline, like using your bite guard at night in order to kind of protect your teeth, or any type of habit, brushing your teeth, maintaining that accountability of, hey, I'm doing this thing so that I can like better take care of myself. And so I want to highlight specifically this comment, because it's tell the difference between growth and self-sabotage in your own life. So when you're self-sabotaging, I think that's a thing that you can do. And Jordan, you even acknowledged it. Like, hey, I do that all the time. The growth comes from the acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Would you say? Where you're
So there's a comedian who does a bit where I don't remember exactly what it is he's talking about, but he says like, admitting it is half the battle. And then he goes, unfortunately, it's not the half that matters. Like you can recognize that you're doing something wrong, but you don't grow until you overcome it.
Well, I think that's fair. I can see the joke, because that's a funny joke, and it's 100% true, because you don't see it until the second half of that battle. You don't the people around you won't see those changes.
Yeah.
But I think for a lot of people, especially in like millennial and younger generations, we recognize that first half of the battle a lot better than older generations. So we can be like, oh, you're maybe not doing something perfectly, but when I hear you verbally acknowledge that you're working on it, like that is something to me where it isn't something to others.
Yeah, no, and you are right, because like you said, it is half the battle. It is still. And maybe it isn't the half that matters, because like nothing changes if you don't do the second half there, but like it is still a step that you have to take in order to do the second step. However, I do also believe that maybe we've like younger generations put that as a little, like they give it a little too much credit to just like almost like too much of a pat on the back just to do that part.
Oh, 100%.
And I think that leads to people not taking that next step.
You can't stop. You can't be like, oh, I acknowledge my fault, now I'm gonna keep doing it. Like that screams like, I hate to say like nepo baby, where it's like, oh, daddy's rich, and I'm gonna draw a parallel to White Lotus here. Have you watched White Lotus?
I have not watched it.
I've just started watching White Lotus. I'm almost finished with season 1. No spoilers in the chat, please. It's an extremely interesting show. But I'm watching this season where Sydney Sweeney plays the daughter of this like rich power couple, and she's very much of the like, I hate my family, you guys take advantage, we're here to celebrate like Hawaiian culture, and I care about people. And she's like very nepo baby woke, where she's just very hypercritical of everyone in her family and how
like she's doing it from a point of superiority.
And it's like, you're literally the most privileged little shit ever. And it's a interesting dynamic. And so you see that, and it's like, you're not changing any of your behavior. You're just sitting there and talking. Oh my dear goodness. You can't just sit there and talk. You need to walk the walk. And I do agree. Like, hey, you said, I recognize I need to be better about my diet. I kind of took some whatever. Great. Be better. Next week when we talk about it, and you're like, hey, I was great for this past week. Like, that was sick. And I remember when you were like really good before the whole wedding and you dropped. Like, we were here for it, man. That was good shit.
Yeah. And I'm gonna get back to it. And I'm like, 100%. I am started on it. Like I waited till 1 today. I'm going to stop at 7 today. I promise I'm going to like again, like I think had I not had like a previous moment where I was like, okay, Friday into Sunday, I'm going to like that exact scenario was a thought that I had already had, and then I reminded myself of it in that moment. So maybe that wasn't as like much of a cheat on my diet, because it was the plan. But like that satisfaction I felt when I was like, yes, like now I can do it. I was like, I haven't even done a day of it yet. I haven't even done a day of my diet, and I'm already like, oh, thank goodness I can stop this.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be real. So I got a question for you, at least somewhat related, because you're talking about all of this stuff, and I'm like, hey, I'm supportive. I'm here for it. Do you, as friends, because we're more than just coworkers on this podcast, do you think that accountability with your friends is something that you want held to like an account, or is that much more of like a lackadaisical, like we talk about things generally, but like holding someone
I
to a list is difficult? Because
I don't
this is
think
something I'm navigating personally myself, and I'm not 100% sure where I stand.
I don't like feeling like I burden anybody else.
Well,
Like,
yeah,
yeah, and I know that I don't with this, but like it's still that feeling of like I don't want you to be held accountable, but I still am going to tell you what I'm doing. And like I don't expect you to be like, oh man, come on, like when I fail at it,
yeah,
because I'm already, when I tell you that I'm like have failed, I'm already gonna kick myself enough. So
yeah.
just letting you know is enough accountability for me personally. But other people may not share in that. I do know I get a little upset. Like when I started my diet the first time, I had a friend who's like, "That's awesome. I'm going to do that with you." And then he folded immediately,
Oof.
and I was like, "That sucked, bro. Like I wish you didn't do that."
That's Brad. That for me is bringing bad energy. Like that's almost like, hey, we're gonna do a thing together, and then they fail. It's like when hey, we're gonna be gym buddies, and then your gym buddy stops going, and you're like,
Yeah,
okay, well, now it sucks a whole lot more to wake up 30 minutes early so that I can go drive
exactly.
to a place to go work out. Whereas before I was going and hanging out with a friend, like that, it changes the dynamic of what's going on there. Oh,
Yeah,
that would
it was like tough. I'd hear him like eat chips on the mic. Like I was like, "Bro, dude, stop."
well, and so for me personally, I'll have friends that reach out to me and hold me to account where it's like, "Hey, you were doing this thing, you were talking about this. How's that going?" And I like that for me personally, mainly because it's almost like a check-in, it's a reminder. This is where I worry about my narcissism because I'm like, it means they were thinking of me, and I like when people think about me. It's like,
Yeah.
someone had an idea of me. It's one of the reasons I also enjoy like gift giving at least a little bit, where it's like, hey, I thought of you, so I got this thing, or I made this thing for
See,
like us as a group.
I totally get where you're coming from because I think I do also share in that. Like, I love to think that people are thinking about me. I love to get a gift. I love all of that. But like, I hate to be monitored, you know?
Yeah, that's one of those things where I'm like,
Yeah. And so, like, I'm like, I don't like when people check in on that. It's probably a good thing. Like, it's probably a good thing to have people check in on those types of things, but that doesn't mean I like it.
ooh, and I think that's also very fair, and I think that's important to acknowledge. Like, hey, I don't like everything that's good for me.
Right.
I Not everything that's good for you, you're going to enjoy. Just like going out, it's snowing, there's snow on the ground, it's cold. It is good for me to get outside and go for a walk. It's good
Hmm.
for me to go touch grass. Do I want to? No. No, I really, really don't. You know what I do in the morning? I wake up and I turn like hot water on in the tub so there's like an inch of hot water down there so I can soak my feet because I'm a little lizard and it warms me up in the morning. And this is a nice little wake up. But like that's how much I don't want to go out in the cold. But you know what I'm gonna try to do? I'm gonna try to get out in the cold and do a little walk around so that I'm out there breathing in some fresh air and
Yeah.
touching some grass.
Yeah. I'm gonna do the same. After this, I'm walking to the store. So
If lunchtime.
yeah, well, we're doing this at 2, so I actually got to eat before this, but like I just ate like leftovers that I took home from up north, and I didn't have anything like to drink or anything, so I'm gonna go like pick up some drinks and stuff. But
Heck yeah. I
I
was gonna
also
say
I also need to stock up on like my tea and like stuff like that I can drink after like 7 o'clock and not like allow myself to get full from that, but not break my fast.
yeah. I'm looking back at comments here. We got James Green. He's talking about White Lotus good. I'm
Good.
I am here for White Lotus. Dude, it's a train wreck. You've never seen it, right?
No,
You
not a
know
single
anything
episode.
about it?
I know that each season is like its own thing, kind of like anthology series seasons.
It is? Oh, I didn't know that. I'm only on season 1. But
Yeah, like new cast in season 2.
oh, that's kind of sick. I'm somewhat excited because I've only the season finale of season 1 left, and it is really good. But it's like Always Sunny almost, where all of the characters are awful and
Just bad
everyone
people.
sucks. It's like watching a train wreck, where it's literally like I'm watching a car wreck, and I need to slow down. Cassie and I will be sitting there. We'll need to pause it. I'm cringing too hard. I can't do this. My secondhand embarrassment gets triggered extremely hard.
Yeah, no, I've never seen it. It's never been one that's really interested me that much. Yeah.
Fair. Just one sits out there. Another comment: Nepo baby woke is such a good way to put it. Yeah, well, and it's not even necessarily just like Nepo baby woke. It's the idea of where you will only talk about an issue. I think in business this is something that happens quite often, as well as if you're side hustling. If you're out there trying your grind set mindset to the best, there we go. Oh, see, and this is why I'm glad that I can just watch the reactions. Like, I want to get clips of these. We just need to get, actually, Melanie, make a note that we're going to get a bunch of clips of Jordan together of him just being exasperated with the things that I say.
There's a montage of eye rolls.
That'll be what goes viral for us.
Riverside clipped together so many different things for us. Like, it'd be cool if we could go in and be like, hey, like, make note of every time we do this or that, you know? Because
Well,
like it did all the ums and stuff, all the ums and uhs.
I want to take 2 minutes here to talk about where I want AI, because this is where I want AI. I want to be able to tell AI to go look at my YouTube channel and every single one of my YouTube videos and pull out every clip where I say a certain word. I want to be able to I want to be able to catalog and use AI to go through all of my digital footprint as like as a researcher, as an archivist, and be able to pull whatever info I happen to want. I want to be able to provide it a database that it can search, pull through, and then edit together a bunch of clips of us saying like that's the cool shit for AI.
Yeah.
Because I don't want a human to have to go through 500 hours of us going live streaming the past year or whatever it is. It's
Yeah.
not 500 hours, it's 2 hours a week. So what is that, 100 hours max?
I don't know how many times how many weeks
We started in like May, June,
yeah, I think June. I think that's right. That's
half a year, a little bit more than half a year.
so you're right. Yeah, we're probably nearing like around like 50 to 60 of them.
Yeah, 50 to 60. But anyways, just to get into that, that's what I want AI to be doing. AI's out here like making pictures and stuff, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool, but like, why can't I create all of this really cool content and then tell AI to go analyze it? Why can't I write a story where I describe what something looks like and then have AI make that up? Which, I mean, you can.
You can to an extent, but like, yeah, we just want it to be a little bit better. I've always thought I want like AI to like get into like the video game space enough to like be able to like I want to be able to play like D&D like in my VR, you know, like by myself basically, you know, where I can like play an adventure where I'm like, yeah, here's my world. I want to like upload like my superhero world to it, and then it like creates a video game for me to just play in the world, you know? Yeah. Like that would be so cool.
All right.
Yeah,
Off of AI. Well, the one thing, so out of all of the words, out of everything that we talked about in 2025, AI was our most talked about topic. And that kind of kills me.
I have to imagine that was said about for a lot of different people.
Yeah, it was everything. It was the note of 2025, and it will probably be the note of 2026. And you know what? It's probably going to be the note of 2027 too. It's going to be the same thing the internet is until
AI is going to start making the notes. So
I was going to say by 2027, the AI is going to be making all the lists, and it's going to be number one on all of them.
There's not going to be any more podcasts. They're all just going to be AI podcasts that like they don't need to take clips from anymore.
God, which is just crazy to me. I will be super curious to see where it goes. And that's one of the main reasons that I think if you are in an online space, if you're side hustling, if you're grinding, if you're doing all this stuff, you need to very much get out there and learn new skills. Learn how to be in front of a camera, learn how to speak, learn how to be human more than a robot, because AI is going to do everything except for being a human. And so what does it take to be a human? Some of those really weird sketches that can only come out of human minds. There's some really weird stuff that we can do. And also like creation, flat out.
An AI would never create. I think you should leave.
Yeah. Like There is some
That has to be a human brain to understand that humor.
humans are crazy, man. We got some real creativity out of here, but we do. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
I was gonna say I need an AI to scan every podcast I've ever done and then create an AI agent avatar for me that I can put on the podcast and do the lives with you every day.
Well, see, and maybe that'll be a thing that happens. And I
I
don't know,
wouldn't give it
man.
my likeness.
And these are the things where it's like we can think about these ideas. We can talk about these ideas. This is a Joey Matterhorn podcast. We talk about side hustling. We talk about making money. We talk about all of these different ideas and thought processes. These are the types of things where you get on the ground floor. Like, what can you use AI for? What can you foresee AI being able to do that people would want and be useful? And there's a lot of different ideas. People are throwing a lot of knives at dartboards right now, but knives don't go into dartboards. You're supposed to use darts, and that's why we're building data centers in Texas. Like, I hesitate to say it, but we're doing things a little bit backwards and a little bit wrong. There's going to be a lot of headaches. There's going to be a lot of failed AI. Remember, there was a lot of search engines before Google came around, so it'll be curious what happens.
True. Yeah, I mean, we talk about growth as us, but like let's talk about growth as far as like technology and AI goes. Like that's something that like they don't have self-doubt. a robot won't self-sabotage.
I was going to say, so there's no self-sabotaging there, but I do want to highlight, moving on. So Melanie's next comment: do you think there is a way for people to reframe their idea of failure to avoid self-sabotage, and how can that help someone? 100%. I think reframing things is extremely powerful. I think positive affirmations are extremely powerful. Being able to think differently about problems is very helpful. Since the beginning of the year, my whole like thought process shift has been like, stop being anxious of the stuff that's behind me, look forward to the stuff that's ahead of me. I want to be driven by what I'm looking forward to, as opposed to being scared of what could happen. And so that shift just in myself has changed me from looking at, okay, well, this is how it all went, this is the problems that could happen in the past, to, okay, what am I being driven for? What am I looking forward to in the future? Where could we end up? Okay, the podcast. What could the podcast do in a year? Where do we want to be in a year? What do I want to do to get it there? For example, we talk about good rep, possibly bringing on more clients. I'm looking at things like there's a chamber of commerce in Jenison here that I was like, hey, maybe I should be joining the chamber. Maybe we should be doing some of these like more localized events, stepping in and like being driven by this like, hey, new thing, get involved locally, be a little bit more on that level. But it's, I mean, a lot. It's a big change.
I think there's a careful line you have to walk though when you talk about reframing failure. I think like you should never take failure and try to view it as not failure, but I do think that there is a healthy mindset and approach to failure. Like you should always recognize that if you did not complete something the way you wanted to complete it, like and that it did not work out, that is a failure. But that doesn't mean that it has to be bad. It's not reframing the idea of failure, it's reframing the concept of failure. Like if you can grow from it, you can learn from it, and if you can learn from it, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
However, once you start like trying to twist, oh, that wasn't a failure because this and this, now you're cheating on your diet. now
Yeah, and I think that's twisting it, and it's definitely not like a, hey, you should reframe that failure so it's a positive. You should acknowledge failures. I think
yes,
I can agree with that. I don't think you want to ruminate on them. I don't think you want to sit there and be like, oh, I failed. But for example, I watch Modern Family. I bring it up a couple of different times, but there's a couple of different episodes dealing with kids in sports, especially when you talk about participation trophies and all of that type of idea, where it's like, hey, sports are supposed to have winners and losers. I am one of those people who believes there are winners and there are losers, and you need to teach people how to win, and you need to teach people how to lose. And it's a valuable skill because you will not always win. Someone will get that promotion over you. Someone will get that job before you. Someone will win the house before you. You will not win always. And some things aren't win or lose, but you need to be able to deal with the disappointment of not getting what you want. And so I think that's something 100% you need to be able to acknowledge, deal with. It's like it's an emotion. Like if you feel
Yeah.
anxiety, you need to be able to address that anxiety. Is there something for you to do? Is there always a fix? Like, oh, I need to do this action, my anxiety will go away. No, sometimes it's just breathing. Sometimes you lose, sometimes something goes bad and you fail, and you just need to sit with that failure for a bit and move on. I think when you fail, not sitting in that failure and wallowing or digging that hole deeper is very important.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Like you need to learn from it, but you can't let it define you.
Yeah.
Like one you have to learn how to do it better the next time, but then also take the step to do it better the next time, not just be like, oh, this is what I should have done. Oh, well, you need to go, this is what I should have done, time to do it.
Yeah. And so here, I've got a story for you, and I'm curious how you would see this because I see it as kind of a failure, but it's one of those ones where I would reframe it because it's not necessarily a failure. So, my whole move out to Seattle, when for those of you who don't know my whole storyline, I finished college in 2017 or 2016, and then early 2017 I got my first big boy job and I moved out to Seattle, Washington, across the country, thousands and thousands of miles away from home. I didn't know anyone at the time, and I moved with one of my friends. After a couple of years, I moved back home. I like lost my job. There was a bunch of other complications. Family needed me to come back, blah, 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 blah. And so I came back home. Now, me coming back, I felt like a failure. I felt like I had gone out to Seattle to try to accomplish this thing. I did end up doing a whole lot. I gained a whole lot of experiences, but I moved back home. And to me, that almost felt like a failure. And it's a framing of that mindset because I could sit there and wallow and be like, okay, I failed. I'm never leaving home again. Or I can reframe that failure as being a, hey, this was a growth experience. It didn't turn out exactly like I expected or what my goal was. I didn't accomplish my dream of staying in Seattle forever and buying a home and being a millionaire and, living on the Puget Sound. But also, what I wanted and my goals changed and evolved over time. And so I ended up back home.
Yeah,
Now, I still feel a little bit of failure about that.
like, so I think one of the big things that we need to mention is we keep throwing around the word failure, and failure is hyper aggressive. Failure is
Real black or white of a term.
there is no positive to come from that, and so it becomes hard for us to be like, yeah, you failed, but look at the positives. And like, we're probably going to keep using the word right now, but like I think it's important to recognize like what I'm saying here. And
Wait. Is 2026 the year of the spectrum because failure is a spectrum?
Sure. I
Ha!
was gonna say,
Boom! I got him.
Here the spectrum has been going on for 25 years, but yeah, sure.
Title this episode "The Year of the Spectrum."
Hey, I used to say 2025 was the year of the vibe, but like, wasn't a vibe.
I mean, it was. There were vibes.
It wasn't a good
Were they
one.
good?
That's fair. But
There
like,
are always vibes. Just
wanna say,
sometimes
like,
they're off.
I think with a long-term goal, it's harder to look at it so black and white as like I failed that or I didn't, because it's so susceptible to changing. And it didn't change because you were like, this isn't working. It changed because what you wanted wasn't the same as it was when you began it. And so I don't view that as like in the ballpark of failure. I consider that to be like, a redirection, and like,
Yes, I
not
think I can get
everything that
that.
didn't get completed is failure. The things that didn't get completed because you could not complete them are when they are a failure.
So do you have a similar example where you would be like, this is a failure?
uh
I'm like, that's what I was thinking of. It's like it's a hard question to ask where it's like, hey, let's analyze this for what it is. And it's recognizing like, hey, to a point this whole episode we're talking about some self-sabotage and how we go about this. When I moved out to Seattle, I definitely think I self-sabotage where I was alone, free, doing my own thing. And so I kind of ended up in my own little world and cut myself off from community. And I think that community is what kind of really helps me as a person and as an individual, like
Yeah.
recognize the stuff around me, having friends, having groups, having Big Leaf and my partner and my cats and my like mom and my grandma, and people rely on
I
me.
love that cats came before mom and grandma, bro.
Oh, 100%. Which I want to be clear. Like I talk about that. You're here. My mom and my grandma are the only ones I have tattooed on my chest. This is
You're gonna
sound
have
bites of my
Loki
mom and
and
my
Freya
grandma.
on your back here soon.
Okay, so I might be getting a Freya tattoo, and I don't need you to say. I I
Oh,
will too. I'm
I
telling
know
you.
you. I know. I laughed there because I know you are not joking.
I don't have one planned. It's not like in the works right now, but I can, yeah, 100%. Like that
That's
grandma and mom came first. Cat come later.
Can't take precedence.
She might get a bigger spot. But it won't be over my heart.
Yeah, you see those cats every day.
I do. Well, and it helps see them every day, man. It really does.
Let's see. We got a
Oh,
question from Melanie.
which
Uh,
one?
I think the bottom one was there's only one question in there at the
Ooh,
bottom.
yeah.
How would you differentiate failure from redirection, or can it be the same? I think I kind of touched on that a little bit there. I think a major thing for me in answering that is what caused the change of goal. Was it something out of your control that like you were like, oh, I cannot do this, I need to change? Or was it a this is no longer what I want, so now I'm changing? Like there's a difference between something stopping you and you deciding to pursue something else.
Yeah, and I want to go back to saying failure is a spectrum. You can fail
Really,
spectacularly. Sometimes things are black and white where it's like, hey, I want to make $100,000 this year, and you don't make $100,000 in a year. That's a fail. You
Yep.
didn't make your goal. That's black or white, and I think that's one end of the spectrum. On the other end of the spectrum, if you're like, hey, I want to end this year happier. That's not a measurable thing. That's a real gray area. Are you generally more happy? Well, take a catalog of your life, compare it to where you were at last year. What are the things that bring you happiness? Okay, well, my job is going all right. I'm making a little bit more money than I was last year. My hobbies are going all right. My D&D group is still together. My partner and I got a couple of new board games, and now we're sharing a new hobby together. So that's really cool. Like, level of happiness, it's a much more of a spectrum of did you fail, did you succeed. In some aspects, I'm sure that you do fail to achieve more happiness year over year, but some ways you succeed. And so being open to small victories in an overall failure, I guess,
Yeah.
as opposed to necessarily recognizing goals shift and change.
Yeah. I think to paint a picture to answer the question that I like the way I kind of
Yeah.
view it would be, say you wanted a job, or say you have a job and you wanted a promotion. There was a position at that job that you thought you'd really enjoy. And so you make it your goal that by the end of the year you're going to get that job. You're going to do everything you can to get to that job. And then while you are doing it, you're working towards that goal. Say halfway through the year, a new job opens that you think is even better, and now all of a sudden you decide, oh, and like maybe you have to accomplish something different to get that job. You have to learn a new skill. Now all of a sudden that first job, you didn't fail at getting that job, the first job you wanted. You
Mhm.
just saw an opportunity now to get something you want more. That's when you're redirecting. You're not
Yeah,
failing, you're
100%.
redirecting.
That's an extremely good analogy. I no notes, snaps.
Thank you. Thank you.
uh, with that, I will say, do you see self sabotage in others, and do you ever like step in and be like,
Yeah.
"Hey,
I
what's really
I
going on
have
there?"
I have a friend who kind of like hates his job. He always sits there and after every day it's just like, oh, Bezos has got me doing this.
Mhm.
Like he doesn't like it and he always wants to do something different. But then it's like any opportunity that he gets to do something different, he like he will have an excuse for why he can't do that. But really, like
Yeah.
he's just panicking about it. He's just afraid to
Ooh.
step outside of his comfort zone.
Yeah. And so in those situations, what do you do? What how do you deal with that situation?
I try to hit him as realistically as possible as I can. I'm a little too brutally honest, I feel like, with some people sometimes, but like
Yeah.
that is one of those times where it's like I tell him like, man, like I just ask him like, are you doing this because like are your reasons true, or are you just making excuses?
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, maybe that's not the best approach, because I don't think that that bounces well off him, because he will double down onto the excuses, and I don't really have a way to be like, because I'll never be like, you're lying to me, but like I try to make him like, I like to think that my questions to him, even if he tells me one thing, make him like rationalize the way I am a little bit more.
Yeah. I think so personally, I do a lot of that, or I try to, because it can be very difficult to be like, hey, I notice you doing this thing and that's not good. We should probably do this thing. It can also be like really awkward and uncomfortable to mention
Yeah.
because your friends and people around you can double down. I will say for me, being almost like safeguarding of your time and your friend group and what you provide energy to, like you are a reflection of the people around you. So if the people around you are acting like that all the time, that's not great. And
Yeah.
so not having those type of people in your circle, I think it's something that is beneficial. But when you do have people in that situation, especially people who have been in your life for long periods of time, you want to show up for them, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just really difficult because I have friends in that exact same spot where they'll get the defensive,ness, and I can't handle the defensiveness.
Yeah.
I will get
And
defensive, but I'll also be real with myself.
I always say like there are pessimists, there are pessimists, there are optimists, and then there are realists. And I always
Mhm.
considered myself to be right there in the middle. But like it's hard sometimes, like when like those friends are a little bit more on the pessimistic side, where it's like no matter what you tell them, like you may be like, hey, if you just get out there and apply for another job, dude, like you might get it. They so quickly will be like, oh, like I won't get that or anything like that. And then it becomes like a like how, is your pessimism like, do you lean on that as a crutch to like provide you with like a route to self-sabotage,
Yeah.
like I think that you see that very differently in like optimistic people versus pessimistic people. I don't think you see optimistic people self-sabotaging like you do pessimistic people.
Maybe. I'll be real. I don't know a ton of optimistic people. In general, I feel like I don't interact with a ton of optimistic people. Like people who genuinely have an optimistic outlook on general situations.
I
I
think
like to
Eric
think,
does. I mean, like he can be critical on things,
yeah.
but like I think he still has like a general like everything's gonna work out mindset, you know?
See, is that mindset based on being an optimistic person, or is that mindset based on like the ability to solve problems? Because
No,
I'll be real,
I think
I
I
think over the past couple of years of like me growing and solving things and like figuring out life and building skills, I don't necessarily feel more optimistic, but I can definitely look at where Eric was when I first met him and kind of see myself in that direction where I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not optimistic about every scenario, but I know that if anything comes up, I will solve it. Is it going to
did
suck?
you feel that way before?
No. And then maybe
And
that is optimism,
I would argue that you've just become a more optimistic person.
which I mean, m- maybe. Is this me discovering that maybe I've become more optimistic
I
as
think
I've
you are
aged?
discovering you've become a more, because it's funny because you were like, I don't know that I'm around very many optimistic people, and I'm like, I feel like our entire D&D group are like very positive people, like maybe not me. I don't think I am. I think I am the opposite of that. But like I think all of those guys are so like happy like about like a lot of little things like all the time, and like and I'm not to say that none of them have problems, but like I've always viewed every one of you guys as much more optimistic than myself.
Yeah. And I honestly, I don't. Saying it now, I feel like almost I'm being incorrect because to me, it doesn't feel like
Well,
optimism. It feels like an acknowledgement of the little things.
you can be optimistic and still recognize that the world is in a shitty place right now, and
Yeah.
then be like, oh, this really sucks. But you
But
can still take that and be like, I'm going to make the best of it. And that's being
so
optimistic.
I think where I'm struggling right now is that we've touched on this before, but we've talked about the idea of being performative.
Yeah.
So my optimism, quote unquote, feels performative almost, because like I have to go out of my way to like, hey, I'm going to solve this thing. I know that I can do this situation. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe this is, I'm gaining consciousness and being like, hey, maybe I do have more optimism here. And that's something that I should think on a little bit
He's
more, because
beginning
maybe
to
I am more
believe.
optimistic than I've given myself credit for.
He's beginning to believe.
And I mean,
Yeah,
in
no,
general,
I've always considered you to be a pretty optimistic person. Like I said, I know that you recognize a lot of shitty things in the world, and you can recognize that and still
yeah,
having like a positive outlook on your life, and like the things that you have going on.
yeah,
So like I think it's easy to be like, oh, the world sucks. So like I think things suck, but like you don't think that at all. You just think some of the things happening suck.
yeah. Well, I'll be real. I got groceries earlier, and they were $250. So that definitely sucked. There is no optimism there. That was.
But
I
you
don't
had
feel good about that.
$250 you could spend on it.
What?
But you had the money to spend on it.
Oh, I had my half of the money to spend on it. I'm waiting for that Venmo. Dude, no, actually, I don't get that Venmo. Like I said, dental issues, man.
Yeah.
Oh, the one thing that I gotta say, I saw a tweet or a post or something from Mark Cuban that was interesting, talking about how he did the whole cost plus drugs thing. And he talked about how if all it took was $10 per human being for healthcare, and we could double our current like healthcare coverage, would you do it? Is that worth it? $10 per person. And it was an interesting post because the idea was, hey, why is there so much bloat in the medical industry? Why are there all these insurance companies? Why are all these middlemen, as opposed to just like doctors helping people and then not dealing with all of this extra insurance bloat, bureaucratic bullcrap on top of it? Because that's where a majority of the costs get sunk in. Medical care costs a lot, buying medical equipment costs a lot, but you have to upkeep an entire insurance industry in order to keep that shit running. So it's a whole like economic conversation. Don't know a ton about it, but it was fascinating to kind of, I mean, like get a little bit of insight, I suppose. And
Yeah.
it's, I don't know, hard to see that as anything other than like being optimistic for some type of future, being like, hey, we want to move towards a change and make things better, as opposed to being shitty.
It's nice that there's one billionaire on this planet that's like hard to hate.
Yeah,
Like,
the thing is, I feel like if I did any type of digging or research, I wouldn't be. And so
yeah,
I don't.
you're probably
And
right.
that fundamentally I think is a problem. Like
Mhm.
that's maybe something for New Year's resolutions I should have written down, get a little bit better about doing research. But I think our generation, millennials and especially Gen Z and Gen Alpha, are going to approach everything we read and say with a grain of salt. Like,
Yeah,
I don't think I quote stories that I read on Facebook without saying I read this on Facebook and it might be fake.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
flat
absolutely.
out. And I don't hear someone tell me something like, hey, I read this article. I'm like, okay, so you read a Facebook post
How
or
many
you saw someone on TikTok telling you about an article they read.
have you ever been guilty of like like just seeing like a headline, like a clickbait headline, like on like a news page on Facebook or something, and then not even reading the article, then just like messaging someone like, "Oh, did you see this happen?"
100%.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, all the
100%. That type of the Coke pulling out of the Super Bowl
oh,
thing.
yeah.
I saw that. I messaged our group chat and I was like, "Did you guys see this?" And then I did that research onto all those different Facebook groups. And I was like, "Oh, so this is just fake AI slop getting pushed by bots onto a bunch of Facebook pages with 10,000 followers." Like, holy crap.
Are you at the point now where you just assume everything is AI? I'm getting there. Like, and it'll just be like a lady talking, like reading a recipe, and I'll be like, I think AI did this.
See,
Like,
I'm I feel like I'm not getting pushed as much AI in general because I don't engage with the AI content in any way. And I very consciously, since we've had that conversation, and I don't know if we used this term last time. Did we use the term digital intimacy?
I think I don't think so.
So I was
That
using this
almost
term.
threw me off.
I was gonna say immediately. I was like, oh, maybe not. I must have heard it on a different TikTok, or maybe it was something that I've read. But it was the whole idea where we were talking about when I send someone a TikTok, and they watch it, it's digital intimacy because I've now influenced their algorithm.
I feel like
If I
I've
s-
heard you. I feel like I've heard you talk about this.
yeah. At least the topic, if not the term. I
Yeah.
heard someone use that term, and I was like, okay, that's a phenomenal term to use because it's
because I
true.
talked about my friend's Boston Scully hats that he would send me and fucked up my algorithm.
Yup. Well, and I also had the thought because I haven't gone and watched them yet, but Eric over the weekend sent me like 10 TikToks. And so me going and watching 10 of Eric's TikToks in a row, that's going to do something for my algorithm, I'm sure. But it's also Eric, so I'm going to laugh and it's going to be fine. And I'm not too worried about it because we're friends and that's kind of where we are at. But with I don't remember the whole topic that I got on this digital intimacy talk for. Crap. I got excited to talk about it. That was all.
Yeah. Keep thinking on it. I'm reading through everything Mel's typed on the side here.
I sometimes view optimism and logical thinking as complementary. Like hope gives me the energy to try, and logic helps me figure out the best way forward. If that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most logical people tend to be the most optimistic people. Because like I think optimism isn't like blind, like we will handle it, like this will be like, you don't think, oh, this will go fine no matter what, but like you believe that things will be okay even if it doesn't go right. And I think that that's where you start using logic, whereas like people who can't use logic tend to be more pessimistic because it's like, oh, this might fail, and if this fails then everything is over.
Yeah, like have we talked about all or nothing thinking?
Mm-mm.
It's a very difficult, and it's a therapeutic term that's often used in couples fights and things like that. Fun fact. All or nothing. Well, if we can't do this, we should just split up. If we it's an ultimatum. It's everything or absolutely nothing, and it's an awful thing to do. It is never everything and nothing. It period isn't. So when you are getting that hope, when you want that energy to try and you want that logic to figure things out, for me, I don't feel optimistic. I just have confidence in my skill set. Like I know that I will step up and solve a problem because I've spent the past couple of years being that person who will step up and solve the problem. And so
Mhm.
it's almost like the optimism, it's like cart before the horse. The optimism didn't come until I started doing all of the things. Like I went to the dentist and I started getting all of my teeth fixed, and then I got a clean bill of health last year and I didn't have to get anything done for the first time, and now all of a sudden I'm feeling optimistic. Like now that I'm kind of like looking at it and I'm doing like a backtrack, doing the things to set yourself up so that you have less anxieties, and then recognizing, hey, okay, so when I get that, one thing that I did is I always ignored letters. I had a lot of anxiety opening letters, and so now whenever I get a letter, I just open it up and I'll just deal with it right then. If it's something that I need to call, I'm going to handle it then, and if it's not, I'm going to set it aside and make sure that it's whatever so I can handle it. I've got a system, and so therefore I'm optimistic. I'm not going to worry about a problem that comes through that anymore. That anxiety is no longer there. I know if anything comes up, I can handle it.
Yeah, I think what Mel says here kind of almost, or like my agreement with it kind of almost contradicts me saying like my whole approach of like there are pessimists, optimists, and realists, because I think to be logical you have to be more on the realist side. And so I do think that my approach, my thought of like I'm a realist does weigh me more into the optimistic side, because I do I don't know if I feel like everything is going to be okay, or if I just kind of don't care if it is or isn't, like, and that's not a healthy place to be. That is not a healthy place to be.
I was going to say
that all the time, but ultimately it has been a major part of who I am for as long as I have been. So.
I'm like, move Jordan up on my checklist for like check-ins. Okay, let's go. But yeah, no, 100%.
I just very much have always had like a whatever will happen kind of thing, be it good or bad. Like I try not to stress about like what's to come, and I should more often. And that's not to say I don't ever, but like sometimes it may be just easier. I don't know. Maybe
well, and I don't think you're wrong, and I think there's a shift. Because I had that exact, I have that exact mindset. Because what'll be will be. C'est la vie, c'est vie. Like it's going to happen, but that doesn't mean that you need to like sit there and be apathetic about it all the time. And I like that's a mindset shift that's fucking weird to get around, because it's, I don't know, man. It's crazy. Apathy's not good though. I will say. I think
Yeah,
apathy is
I know.
is the slow killer.
I know it is. It is. Like there was a time like where it was way worse for me back in the day. Like back when I used to like I was never like diagnosed depressed, but like there was like a time where like in college where I felt nothing almost. You know, it wasn't like I was sad, it wasn't like I was happy. I was just kind of there, you know,
Yeah.
and like I think ever since then, I definitely have been good at not allowing like the level of apathy I have never lets me get to that. You know, it's just kind of I'm not going to stress about something. You know, like if it's not in front of me right now, it's not worth worrying about.
Yeah, and there's situations where that's good, and there's situations where that
Yeah.
can be bad, and everything as always. It's a spectrum. 2026 year of the spectrum. I'm gonna ride this, man.
Oh,
Grind
I
set
know you are. I know
mindset.
you are. The
Year of
second
the
time you
spectrum.
said it, I was like, "You're not letting this one die. This is gonna be a whole
And
year."
this is where I'm at. Is in maybe 2026 is the year of Cody finding hills to die on. Like,
No, no, that's been every year.
hey man, I'm here
the
for it.
the hills are littered with Cody's bodies.
The hills are littered with Cody's bodies. Oh my goodness.
Mine
Oh,
too. I'm right there next to you, just on different hills. like,
which I
like
mean,
we
to
have a
be fair,
mountain range of just us being scattered on it.
ah, and that's I to bring this all back around. We're talking generally about how to shift mindsets, how to focus on growth, not sabotage yourself, be like a general shift forward. And I want to like bring this all back around to talk about Joey Matterhorn in general. So Joey Matterhorn was created by the owner Joe to come and basically put a face to side hustlers, to grinders, to people who want to figure out how to be online, work on their mindset shifts so that they can make money and like be successful in today's day and world. We came up with that before AI got crazy, and then AI went crazy, and it's a little bit more of a weird world out there. And so we're a lot more of a human touch, I like to think, and with that comes a big mindset shift for I think everyone in the industry. So if you're there and you're working on your optimism, if you're working on your, mental health, if you're working on your grind set, if you're trying to stop yourself sabotaging, um, come chat, come talk with me. Uh, we're Good Rep Media. We're a small business marketing agency. We help small businesses get ranked on Google. We can also help you with any of your side hustle or grind mindset type things. We do a lot of different marketing activities. And if you ever want to talk about it, we're always here for you. Honestly, I want to get a BetterHelp link to throw down there next because let's start
We
doing
talk
some.
about mental health stuff enough that like even if we don't have an affiliate link for it, we should still just be throwing it up there just so that people can see it.
Exactly.
Our
But
3 viewers all work for our company. We know they need it.
I almost had that thought. So ending off on a little bit of a story, way back when, and they've changed this. This is obviously very illegal now for anyone who doesn't know your history lessons. The Ford Motor Company, a lot of different companies like Ford Motor Company created villages and towns based around their factories. So everyone in the town, everyone who worked at the factory lived in this one area. They bought or rented homes from Ford. They shopped at the general stores that were owned and operated by Ford. They did all of this stuff that was owned and operated by Ford. And that's not very good. So when I say that we are not your mental health source, we are not your therapist, it's because we're not your therapist. We are not your general store managers. We are your marketing people. We are your online gurus. And if you want anything to do with your online reputation, that's what you should be reaching out to us for. If you do want to talk about your mental health, we're here to chat. My segue that I wanted to get into though was they also had a radio station, Ford did. And so they had like a radio station for all of the employees at Ford who lived in this one town. And so that all the people from Ford who worked at this warehouse who lived in this town would listen to the Ford radio station. And so we're
Huh.
almost like the Good Rep radio station for the company.
Yeah,
Come
yeah.
come tune in. We'll give you the company updates.
I
We'll
like
let you know what's going on discount at the general store. The Good
I'm
Rep
gonna start
Media.
playing old like Fallout tunes and stuff in between. You know,
Dude, I watched a bunch of Fallout videos over the weekend.
I
Maybe that's why
know
my head's in that.
not just real quickly. I'm gonna say I just like last night stayed up and worked out the Fallout 3 Fallout New Vegas mod that combines them into one. So yeah, so I got that installed and I'm ready to dive into that soon.
That's actually kind of sick.
Yeah,
See, and I'm over here. I just dove into Diablo 4 over the past week, and it was.
Hey, that sounds fun too. That sounds like a
Hey
good
man,
time.
they released a Paladin. It's pretty sick. But with that, thanks so much for joining us, guys. We had a weird little bit of a schedule today due to some of those dental emergencies. So I really appreciate everyone showing up at this weird hour. We're going to be back to our regular time at noon next week, Monday, on the Joey Matterhorn channel. But if you do want to join us tomorrow at noon on the Good Rep Media channel, we are going to be talking about mental resilience, mental reset after the holidays, how to get back into it, how to like really step back into the work and the mindset. I know for me, I'm feeling refreshed. I'm feeling like I spent a couple of weeks not in reset, but definitely taking a little bit more of a back seat, taking a little bit of a more relaxing holiday period. And I come into the new year a little bit refreshed. So it'll be an exciting episode to get into. Should be a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But come join us then. We appreciate it a lot. We'll see you guys tomorrow on the Good Rep channel. Peace out.